Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Season 16, Story 4, The Androids of Tara. Now, The Androids of Tara. Well, I loved this story. I got you there for a second, didn't I? Pretending that I hated it. I got you. No. The Androids of Tara, I love this story. Whew, I got you there, didn't I? Anyway, so The Androids of Tara, the plot sees the Doctor basically wanting a bit of a break from finding the segments of the key to time. Don't blame him. He is halfway through after all, but Romana is more interested in getting the fourth segment. So they arrive on the planet Tara, and the Doctor decides to go off and do some fishing, whilst Romana finds the fourth segment. However, shortly after, she's almost attacked by... Oh, I'm sorry, I can't take the Taran would-be seriously, and I don't think anybody else can. It doesn't even do much anyway, it's just there for like a few seconds. Doesn't even attack her that much, and she doesn't even put up a fight. Yeah, I will say one bad thing about this story is that Romana, once again, falls back into the damsel in distress character. Even worse when, in part 3, the Doctor does rescue her, and then at the end of that episode, she's re-kidnapped. Thankfully, she does have a few redeeming qualities throughout the story, but is it me, or is Romana just as easily kidnapped or in danger as some of the less smart companions? Goodness, she's supposed to be one of the smartest, and yet she keeps getting into trouble more than the Doctor. And no, this will not change when Lana Ward takes over. Anyway, she's rescued, sort of, by Count Grendel, played by Peter Jeffrey, who if those who've gotten the Macroterra animated edition DVD or Blu-ray, or Steelbook Blu-ray, will know he played the pilot in that story. And here he plays a delicious villain. Oh, he's so good in this role as Grendel. He was good as the controller as well, but he's so good as Grendel. He pretends to take Romana back to his castle. However, he has her restrained as he believes she could be an android replica of the Princess Strella, who Romana looks a lot like as Mary Tam Plater. What's even more fun is that when they find out afterwards, he decides to use her as part of his plan, and that includes having an android of the Princess Strella and an android of Romana. So Mary Tam actually gets 4 roles to play in this. So she's got Romana, she's got Princess Strella, and she's got the android replicas of both characters. 1 replica each. So, and to Mary Tam's credit, she does a great job playing all 4 characters. It's just a shame Romana keeps getting kidnapped and in danger quite a lot. Also, Princess Strella has barely anything to do besides doing some sewing, but in part 4 she has some nice teaching lessons for Romana, so that's nice. Anyway, whilst that's happening, the Doctor is recruited by the Prince and his men, even though the lead swordsman, not the swordmaster, the soldier, he's a bit of a dick to start with, but later on he gets better and nicer. Again, that's how you do good character development. And they recruit him to fix an android that looks like the Prince, so he can turn up at he can pretend Grendel, they suspect him of trying to kill the Prince, so they try to have this guy as a decoy, whilst the real Prince gets onto the throne. However, when Grendel has the Prince kidnapped after drugging the Doctor over the Prince, the Swordsmaster and the Swordsman, they decide to use the android as to take the Prince's place. Yeah, it doesn't seem the best idea, but it's better than giving Grendel the throne, as they decide. And then after the ceremony, the Doctor and K9 have to try and rescue Romana, which, and also there is one bit where there is a trap for the Doctor lets him then allows Romana to escape. She actually saves the Doctor at that bit, but then she gets kidnapped. Goodness. So the Doctor has to go in and try and rescue her and the prince, as well as the princess. He's a king by now, the king and the princess. And take on Grendel in a good sword fight. It's not as good as the Sea Devils or Christmas Invasion or I think, did Mask of Mandrake have one? I'm not sure. Might not. I'm not sure. No, it's not even as good as the King's Demons one, and that one wasn't that much. So it's a good sword fight, but it's one of the weaker ones, if not the weakest sword fight, and it goes on for a bit of a while, quite a lot of the episodes. And there is this one point where they are battling in the tunnels, and it's difficult to see. Grendel also escapes. I would have thought he would have been killed, but by the looks of it, he escapes. Whilst Romana rescues the princess, and she and the king kiss, whilst the Doctor and Romana try and find recover the fourth segment, which was taken off Romana upon capture, but the Doctor has already acquired it, and they go off and get K9 who's stuck in a boat. The episode basically ends there, by the way, with K9 in a boat. So, yeah, but a funny ending, I suppose. Lots of to tie up as the King's men also break into the castle to help. So yeah, Androids of Tara, it's a really fun, really enjoyable story. Pretty much enjoyed every minute of this, for the most part. On the first watching, I also really loved it, and I considered it the best of season 16. On the second viewing, it died down a bit, but I still considered it very good, and put it as the second best of the season. And after this third viewing of it, I really loved it. I found it really entertaining, really engaging. The characters are great. The performances are amazing, especially with Peter Jeffrey as Grendel and Mary Tam playing Romana and Strella and their androids. Tom Baker is also brilliant as the Doctor, and John Leeson as K9. Just brilliant. The Prince, his actor is great. So is the Swordsman and the Swordmaster. They're great. Even some of the hench people, the Madame Lamia, she's good. There's even a bit of a sort of a fancy from her. She sort of fancies Grendel, and maybe she simply wants Grendel's king and got rid of the king, the former king, who was the prince at the start, and Princess Strella. Maybe she would become his queen. And also this hunchback henchman and another guy who seems to be the captain of the guards for Grendel. They're also pretty good in their scenes, and also this archbishop type character. He's also pretty good in his scenes. So the story is got some great actors and great characters, and the actors perform those characters brilliantly. The location work is amazing. This time in Kent at Leeds Castle, which I haven't been to. It's not National Trust or English Heritage, so it's more expensive. But anyone who wants to go there, it's near Maidstone. Not Leeds, like an American guidebook said it was. Leeds Castle is not in the city of Leeds, it's in Kent. Near Maidstone, to be precise, as I mentioned. It's just off Junction 8 of the M20. M20. Let me check that. Give me a second. Let's see. Page 23. Yep, just sort of off. Here we go. Here we go. It's about here-ish. There's a village called Leeds near Maidstone. Maidstone, Junction 8, Leeds Castle. And that's not far from London, so anyone wanting to go there, that's where you need to go. Not the city of Leeds, you need to go to the village of Leeds in Kent. Like I said, just off Junction 8 of the M20. Almost to the M25, sorry. Anyways, so great location work. I love how that they found the key to time segment so easily, so quickly, that now they can just get on with the rest of the story, as opposed to trying to finding the segment during the story or at the end of the story, whilst, because by the looks of it, the stories have been taking over, the actual plot of the stories have been taking over, as opposed to actually finding the segment, which is good in a way, but also it means that trying to find the segment is also sort of reduced priority, even though it should be the maximum priority. So in this story, they actually do a twist by actually having them find it early, and then they get round to doing the story, as well as also trying to having to retreat once it's taken off them. They have to get it back by the end, which is also pretty good. At least they don't have to actually try and find it. They've already found it. They need to try and get it back, and when they can do the rest of the story in the meantime. So I actually like that, how they do that. It's a little bit of a it's a bit different to how we've had it beforehand, and yeah, it works greatly. And the story is also really great. I like the stuff with the androids. Do you think they kept some of the android props from Android Invasion left over? Maybe. And it's also handled really great. More great sets and props and costumes. It all looks brilliant. And it just forms into a really perfect story. I do have one question. In the title sequences, it has the title by the author, and then it says part something. Sorry, that's how it usually is. Sorry, this time round, it's the title, part 1, for example, then the author. Yeah, they changed it round for some reason. They've put the author behind which episode it is, as opposed to in the author in the middle. That's a bit odd. It's like how The End of Time would do it, except that one I can understand, whilst this time it's a bit odd. It's not a complaint, it's just a query. I only noticed it on this one. I don't know if it's been done for any others, apart from The End of Time, which I know they did. Oh well. Just something I was wondering. So, Androids of Tara, it's a brilliant story, a really brilliant, a overlooked classic in my opinion. This is certainly one of the best stories of the Tom Baker era. Not the best, I wouldn't put it in top 5, but certainly a top 10 worthy story, or at least at the moment. So, then again, quite off season 13 were top 10 material, and then following a couple of stories later on down the line knocked some of them out. So, Androids of Tara, I am going to give it a 10 out of 10. Lots of entertainment, lots of enjoyment. Everything just works and is so good. My only really issues is that the sword fight isn't quite as good as it could have been, although it's still pretty good, and it does go on a bit too long. And Romana is, once again, a damsel in distress for the majority of the story. But other than that, it's a really great story, really enjoyable, really fun. I think it does take its time in some places in the second half, but it's still a faster-paced story than most stories in the classic series, and it's a really enjoyable one as well. So that's The Androids of Tara, a brilliant story. Next up, we've got a story that isn't really that brilliant at all, or at least not when I last saw it, and I am not having much expectations for it. The Power of Kroll, featuring everybody's favourite monster of all time, Kroll. Now, that bit I was definitely being sarcastic about. As for the story itself, well, we're going to have to find out, but at current time, I'm not the biggest fan of it. So we'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching my review of The Androids of Tara. Next time, The Power of Kroll. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here. Hang on, I had the better idea to start this. Anyway, this Count Grendel, played by Peter Jeffrey, who plays the pilot in the Macra Terror, so if you've got... Anyway, she's... No. have, and the doc. Actually, she escapes and helps the doctor escape. Sorry, she actually escapes and helps the doctor. Anyway, thank you for watching. Next time, the power